Hello, everyone, and welcome to TESL Ontario Exchange video series, a new video series from TESL Ontario developed by our members and for our members. The aim of this series is to provide a bank of short videos between 5 to 15 minutes, consisting of teaching gems, try-through lesson ideas, technology that helps you work more efficiently, and time-saving tips for educators. My name is Gonul Turkdogan, and today it gives me a great pleasure to introduce our presenter, Jonny Kalambay. Jonny always been passionate about language education. French is his first language, and throughout his life, he has learned English, Spanish, and Japanese. His professional background is in software engineering, and he is now combining his expertise and passion working full-time on developing tools for education. He is the developer of Roshi and has been building it for over the year with the help of teachers across Canada. Today's TESL Exchange video title, Using AI to Create Level-Adjusted Lessons from Anything Online. By the end of today's video, you'll be able to create lesson material from videos or articles, edit and share that material, create illustrated stories, and create dialogues. So I'm quite excited. Without further ado, let's move on to our presentation. Over to you, Jonny.
Great. All right. Well, thank you for the kind introduction, Gonul. It's a pleasure to be here. As you said, my name is Jonny, and I'm the creator of Roshi. I've been working on it for about a year. And Roshi is a tool that's made to help teachers like you create lesson more efficiently. And essentially how it works is it lets you take content from online, like YouTube videos and articles, and turn it into different kinds of exercises and other kind of classroom content. So I'm going to walk through that today, through how to create a lesson from different kinds of online content. I'll walk you through how to create a story, an illustrated story, and I'll walk you through how to create a dialogue. And last but not least, I'll show you how to take that content and then share it with your students in different ways. Now, to follow along, just make sure you go to www.Roshi.ai. So let me get right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is go to Roshi. And when you get to Roshi, you'll want to click on Create Your First Lesson. Now here, you'll have a few options. The first three are the ones that we'll go through today. Generate a lesson, generate illustrated story, and generate dialogue. So let's start with generate a lesson. So here, you can pick different kinds of material to base your lesson off of. You can choose an article from the feed that we have, or you can bring in an article from elsewhere on the web. For example, if you have a local news source that you want to make a lesson based off of, you can do that. And you can also bring in a YouTube video, as long as it has English subtitles. So that's the option I'm going to choose. I'll click link to a YouTube video, and I will pick this Bill Nye video about climate change. I'll click generate lesson, and here you can choose what you want to have included. The vocabulary list and summary will be included by default, and you can choose what else you want to have in there. Things like true or false questions or discussion questions. And if you have a paid account, you can actually choose questions that are based off indicators of ability from the CLB. So I'm just going to use the generic ones. For this time, I'll do true or false questions, and I'll do pre-reading discussion questions. I'll click generate. And first, it's going to take the YouTube video, the transcript specifically, and summarize it. So then I'm going to take that summary and create a vocabulary list with keywords from that summary. And it's also going to create activities based on whatever you selected in that menu. It's important, as I mentioned, to make sure that the video you chose has English subtitles. Even auto-generated ones are just fine. Once that's done, you can save it and share it, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. But first, I'll show you a little bit how you can edit it because you might want to make some changes. So I'm going to save this one. And here you can see the lesson is broken up into different sections. I have my activity here with the questions that I can change. You can add choices, you can add questions, you can remove questions, you can change the vocabulary. And most importantly, you can actually change the difficulty. So if you look at this text and think it's a little bit too much for learners at a higher level, you can click Modify Text and create a new version with a difficulty that's adjusted to be a little bit lower. So what it's going to do here is actually rewrite that text at a lower level so that you can use this same text in multi-level classes just by adjusting the complexity. I'll save this one as simplified version. Simplified version, there we go. And also to make it even more approachable, you can scaffold it not just by adding a simplified version, but you can also add audio. If I click add audio, I can record my own voice, upload an audio as an MP3, or I can have audio auto-generated for this text.
Climate change is a big problem. It makes the earth hotter. This change happened because of people.
So once I'm happy with that, I can save it, and I'll get to the sharing a little bit later, but before that, I want to show you the other two kinds of lessons that you can create. So I'm going to go back. Actually, I'm going to call this one Climate Change Lesson. I'll go back to the menu. And now I'm going to create a story. And just to stick to the theme, I'm going to make a story about a little bear that finds an empty can and recycles it. What it's going to do is it's going to create an illustrated story based on the premise that you give it in the amount of pages that you specify. In this case, let me just do 3. And you can also specify the level at which it's written, and you can choose to add translations. I'll do translations in Japanese. Click Generate Story. And because I chose 3 pages, it'll create a 3-part story. Each page is just going to be a sentence or 2. And it's going to add the translations for those texts. And it's going to generate an illustration that corresponds to each of those texts. And I'll show you in a little bit how you can change that if you want to make some modifications. Once it's done with all the illustrations, you can save it and share it, and I'll show how to share it in a little bit. Let me call this one Bear Story. Just like with the other lesson, I can add audio, either voice recorded or auto-generated. I can make the story longer by adding more slides. If I don't like this image, I can just generate another one. Or I can even upload an image. Let me add some audio. But let's say, for example, I have some adult students who I think an illustrated story might not appeal to. I want to have some more real-world scenario. In that situation, instead of an illustrated story, you can create a dialogue. So that's what I'm going to do here. Back at the lesson creation screen, I'm going to select dialogue. And here, just like with stories, I can choose a premise for this dialogue. So this time I'll say a woman at an event is trying to figure out where to recycle her drink. So I'll put that in as the premise. And now, instead of choosing the number of pages, I'll choose the number of lines that I want each person to have. So if I pick 3, then there'll be 6 lines in total. Each person will have 3 lines. So it's a 2-person dialogue. I'll click Generate Dialogue, and it's going to create for me that dialogue between 2 people. And it's also going to give me audio for each of the lines. And you'll notice that each person has a distinct voice.
Excuse me, do you know where I can recycle my empty drink?
Yes, there are recycling bins located near the entrance.
And just like that, you now have a dialogue that you can use for practice. Now I'm going to show you, once you've made these different kinds of lessons, how you can share them. So I'm going to go back to the lesson that I have with the climate change, and I'll show the 3 different ways to share it. So the first and most straightforward way is just to print it. Just go to print, and you can print it as a PDF. The second way is to share the link. So if you click on copy sharing link, you'll have a link that you can then send to your students, and they'll then see an interactive version of your lesson where they can see the text, they can see the audio, and they can answer the questions and get live feedback. And the third way is to save it as an H5P. So I can just click export as H5P, click generate H5P, download it. And I'm using a program called Lumi, but you can just use your existing LMSs. If you're using Moodle, if you're using Avenue, or wherever you're working with H5Ps, you'll be able to work with this. And you'll have here, like I have the YouTube video, the text, the audio, and the interactive questions. And that's about it. Those are the main features, but we're always adding more. So please, if you have more suggestions, don't hesitate to reach out. If you have questions, you can reach me at Jonny@Roshi.ai. Yeah, and that's about it. I really appreciate your time, and I hope this will help you save time in your classroom.
Thank you very much, Jonny, for sharing such an amazing technology tools with us. And you created this one so wonderful and has great option, creating dialogue, turning the videos to a lesson plan. That's amazing. Thank you so much. And it was a great pleasure to have you. As we come to the end, let me remind you that TESL Exchange video promises to deliver more education to you in bite-sized videos. So if you like our video, don't hesitate to click the like button and subscribe our video channel. And if you want to contribute to the educational video, make sure to check the link provided in the information box below. Have a great day and see you next time. Bye for now.